So if you watch last episode all the way to the end, and we hope you do, because there's a lot of information happens at the end, but you'll also notice there's a tripod, and me and Luke were stood there a few seconds ago.
I've moved.
Well, Luke's moved. We stood there a few seconds ago doing the end of the video, talking about the concrete coming, and now look, we're now ready for the next job. We've just had another building inspector come, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because he forgot to take it out of his diary because he'd already come, or someone else had come Friday, last minute for us. But anyway, that was a nice chat, and he was happy as well, strange enough, and he saw it 100% ready. So there we are. Concrete hasn't come yet. It's due in about half an hour. But what we have done is, if you remember from last episode, if you're a regular viewer, if you are, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Appreciate your time. I bought a new steel saw, and while I was fetching it, Luke set out there. And before I show you that, this is what we're doing. So what he's just set out now is this little bit here, look, across there and across there, which is a bit of a boot room, and then we're moving the garage doors forward. If you've been paying attention last episode and episode before, I think we're 3 episodes in now, I think. But if we're not, we might be 2, I don't know. So this is what we're going to concrete today, all of this and all of this here, and then we've got all this to do yet. So we're going to dig this now. We've got to leave this one for now because it's our access in and out across there. And those are the doors there that are moving forward. So let's go and have a look at that in its reality now. So the doors are moving forward from there to here, to this point. And then we're going to have the boot room's going to be down here. So we're just going to dig this today and dig this. And then we're going to dig this out as well, aren't we? And then this could be concrete, isn't it? Just concrete. So same process, DPM, hardcore, everything else, but we'll dig it out and we'll just concrete them, and that'll be a finish, won't it?
Yeah.
For the concrete floor. In the garage, then we've got to cut a doorway there and a cut a doorway there, but that's loads to come yet, loads to come. So if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe, because there's a lot going on in this job, and you'll see pretty much every process of the building trade here, other than a cut roof, because it's a warm roof, but it's a big one. It's 13 metres by 13.12 by 5.6, so it's a good one, and that's just to there. That's sort of this as well, so there we are. It's a good one. Well, the bricklaying bit's always best, but there's no bricks, is there?
No, true.
Other than
Blocks.
below damp. Yeah. It's all block works in it, so it's not as if you're going to see no finesse on this job, are we?
No.
Well, we don't anyway.
Well,
but you know.
how dare you?
How very dare you? And you may even
complimented on my block work, thank you.
You have, yes, you have. You have. It was by your mum, though.
Yes, it was, yeah.
It's a comment from your mum, wasn't it? Come on, let's tell the truth.
It was.
But. So yeah, we're going to get that done now. We're waiting for the concrete, and then when they come, we'll get all this concreted. And we've been blashed with the weather again. 15 degrees is it today or something? I've still got my dress up like it's winter though, because I just don't really get warm or get cold, so I just put this on and don't take it off. Anyway, we'll talk about my clothing. So we're going to get this broken out now while we're waiting for the concrete, and then we'll crack on with that. Let's do it, shall we?
Yeah, let's make a noise.
Let's make a noise. So there we have it. Luke's pacing, just doing all our final checks. They emptied the pipes here, so we were a bit high, so we had to take up the barrows out. However, we were a little bit low in that corner, and we're just topping up where you can see the puddles of water, so we know it's not a dip, because that's generally the sign really, if it's a little bit low. But dipping it all now, and that sound means we're right. A little bit more in that corner.
No, just a little bit here, just these little bit of water holes. And
We got that in there just to top it up. So Luke's doing that, and then we'll go through with our bit of a tamper, a dapple bar as it's called. Mention your maths. I want to mention your maths in a minute. I think it needs mentioning. So the lads are outside now, look, doing a grand job of making sure when they go it looks like they haven't been. Now a lot of that's dirt that they're getting up now off the driveway from us digging, because we wash it and scrape it and run and what have you, but you can't do nothing about it when you've got dirt and it's running into the street. But they're doing a grand job, look now, washing all that down. Brilliant, thank you to them. A company called SS Concrete. I don't know how far they go, but that's who we use in the Midlands. So there we are. Right, let's talk about Luke's maths, shall we? So that's the first ticket, and if you can read that, if it's focused, that says 3, which means you have 3 cube. Let's look at the other ticket. So I'm just covering some personal stuff up, that's all. And if you can see that one, it says 13.25. So there we are, 16.25. And that's Luke's maths, look. 16.1. That's not bad, is it? Not a bad guesstimate at all. Because what we've done is we've obviously done that, as I said to you before in the episode. That bit there has been done extra for the customer now, because you might as well do it now, because it makes a lot more sense to do it now. That's why we've done it. It's already poured, we haven't got to get any machines over there. It's already done when they are ready to have their retaining wall done and the patio done, so it's done. So that's us then. That's us then. We're really pleased about that. Moving onward. We'll have a little bit of lunch, because that's took us way past lunchtime now. And we'll continue digging this out. Finish our day. So we took the top off, and we've been hand digging for a bit, and we found a lovely pipe there, look, in the footing. And then what we found is a pipe, which we knew anyway, we expected it, which is why we started hand digging when we got to a certain depth. Look at that. Can you see that dripping there? And you can smell the foul water as I started to dig. In fact, pouring out there, look. So you can see we haven't touched it. It's intact. But I don't know where they've... Bit of compound, I think it looks like they put a bit of a compound, presuming that's how they used to do it. I don't know. But however, if you can't see that, that's just a constant. Yeah. Did you do this, Lou? It's just pouring out, so that's not very good. So we'll have to dig the top of that off now. Continue digging off the top of that, and we'll have to repair that, won't we? So as you would have seen, we are straight back on it this morning, straight back outside again. Discovered a few more pipes. That one that's leaking quite a lot, we think it's because the cistern's constantly running, that's what we think it is. But I don't know if you can see it on the camera, it's the angle of it. Not very good at all, and the bottom clay's all cracked as well. And I know we didn't touch it with a bucket, but besides, I mean, we'd fix it anyway, but I know we didn't touch it with a bucket, so they've obviously put it in like that and then compoed all the top in, because the pipes aren't in line, one goes up and one goes back down again. So that's not great at all. So we're just digging the other part out now to return there, but we have found the drain for that down pipe there. So that's fine, we found that, we'll get that sorted. They'd have also saw us starting to dig this. So that now, all bar, I think it's 20 millimetres, the ground level now, which is our makeup of your hardcore, your concrete, your screed, everything from finished floor, is about 20 mil lower than the footing. Because if you remember, we had to pick it up, of course, to make sure that we clipped. Sorry, excuse me, I'm chobbling sweets, a bit rude of me, sorry. If you can remember, we had to pick it up an extra course, more than we would do, to make sure we went underneath that footing there, which is what we had to do. Otherwise, we would have been another 75 mil lower, wouldn't we? And then we wouldn't have been going level or below our footing. But that's what it is. It is what it is. We had to do that. So all this now, all of that has got to be dug down to that level. So we're going to continue on the front. We've done between the two jobs because we've got quite another grab pile already. So we're just waiting for that to be collected. That should be in about an hour or so. And once that's gone and we finish digging this, we'll put the fence back round it again. As we said last night, we put all the fence around it to stop no one falling in. And then we'll start digging all this down here, which will be another great job done. Well, my apologies, there's not much footage since I last spoke because I know it upset some people, and apologise for the noise in the background because Luke is now breaking out the rear slab or continuing to do that. We had a bit of a, I'm going to say we had a bit of a shocking day yesterday, and I'll show you why. Let's have a look. So the last footage you would have seen would have been Luke digging in that corner, and then once we got to the pipe that you were seeing on the footage going this way, we stopped because we wanted to cut it out just so it's not in the footing. And then look, what we discovered was this power cable. Now, I suppose we could argue about what we should and shouldn't have done. However, I don't know if we talked about the state of this footing and how bad it was in terms of the amount of bricks that was in it and what have you, full to the brim with bricks. So what we did was, I don't know if you can see there, look, try and cover that over. What they used to do, apparently this is pre-1940s apparently, I was told by the bloke from National Grid. They used to get, but I've got a bit here actually, used to get this, which is almost like a bit of a clay pipe underneath, you can see it there, look actually, a little bit of off cut there, underneath the pipe. Then they used to fill it full of bitumen, so you can sort of see there, look, all the bitumen's covering all the cable. And then they used to put a brick on top. See it there, look, that little bit of a brick. So it looks just like a normal brick on the top of it, and then cover it over. So of course, we were digging away, got to this point, it was all hand dig. And then when we come to here, because someone had already broken the footing out, it must be for when they put this pipe in, look, whoever did that before us. That runs here, and we've obviously disconnected it because it was in the footing. we thought it was a wall coming round here like that, because it was just like a pile of bricks. That's what it looked like. So of course we put the breaker in and gone straight into the cable. And as you can see, it's only a small cable, so we did well to hit it. It's only half inch cable, and we've done well to hit it with an 1/2 inch chisel, haven't we? So there we are. So luckily for us, the customer wasn't working from home that day. The only person we did upset was her son, because we had to turn Paw Patrol off at his nanny's house, which is next door. So that was the only upset we had. So again, I'm going to officially apologise for that, because we had to turn Paw Patrol off. So yes, so that's what we had to do. But the guys from National Grid, 2 lovely fellas, come and did this and said it's actually a common occurrence because there's no tape on it, there's no sand on it, there's no obvious signs. Myself and Luke, I think combination of in the building trade for, what have I got? I reckon 45 years between us, and we've never seen this before. So there we are, every day's a school day, even though this was a hard day to be schooled, this one. There we are, that's that. I wasn't going to show it, but to be honest, I thought honesty is always the best policy. And what I wanted to talk to you about, I'll try and find some images if I can of the actual structure, how it goes together. But the reason I wanted to show it is because if you are going to do this on your own home, say for example, you want to put a little bit of a wall in, bit of a DIY project, put a bit of a wall in, you put a bit of a footing in, you've got to be careful, because even to people like me and Luke, who've been doing it a long time, there's still things that that are unforeseens. So there we are, and that's why I want to show it. So carry on in the comments section now what I should and shouldn't have done, but I thought it'd be best to be honest and show you what you could come across if you are digging holes near your home. So there we are. There's not even anything visible inside we could have had a look at. It happened, we've solved it, we've got over it, and we'll now show you what we're going to have to do to cover all that over and the correct way you should sort of box it in and what have you know. So that's something else we can show you, isn't it? In the meantime, I'm going to go back to the noise over there, get all that dug out, like we've already done round the corner. And then we're going to blank that one off down there. Can't see my screen. That one off down there, put a blank on that. And then we're going to reconnect that down pipe over here somewhere. And then that one we're going to have to replace, because what we have discovered, which we didn't notice, it's dripping because, again, the previous person, can you see they put the stop, can you see, let me just, there we are, they put the down pipe straight into the top of the soil stack vent. It's just a bit wrong, isn't it? So we're going to have a look at that, because that's not right either. So there we are. Let's go back to the noise. And I hope you're all sitting there thinking, oh, I can't believe he's done that, or having a good laugh at us. So there we are. We thought we'd show you. And feel free to comment, which I'm sure you will.
I was waiting in the undertow, set adrift with featherweight like bones, unaware of where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow, can't touch the bottom, sit into a tumble. Waves that shake me out of my skin. Never been so easy, losing my direction. My bearings have me south of home, but I've been wrong before. I was waiting in the undertow, set adrift with featherweight like bones, unaware of where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow. And the water feels like a friend I've not seen in years, so familiar and strange at once, like a lover who lost her touch. At first I was hesitant, now it seems oh so curious.
Well, we've had a busy start to the morning. We haven't filmed anything today so far because we had to make sure we got all of this cleared and scraped because, as you can probably see out there, which I'll walk through now, it's a bit noisy. The grab's here. He's dropping off 7 tonne of hardcore for us. Not the chippings, because you're not allowed to use that under concrete. It's proper hardcore, so he's dropping 7 tonne of that off. And he's going to take our final grab for now. As you can see, we've scalped all this off at the level that we need it to be at now. Left a little bit of a ramp for ourselves getting in and out for now, because we have still got to dig a footing in line with that doorway there, across where we've stopped that concrete. So we're not done that yet, for obvious reasons. We had started to load out our blocks and bricks, as you can see there, ready to go for building today, until he turned up. We were about to go and fetch a sandwich, so we're glad we didn't now, so we'd have been eating it cold after. We're probably going to be an hour, I bet, against he's done all this. So we use a company called ADW. They do our grabs and they do aggregates as well. So they drop it loose or drop it as we are here, dropping it in the dump for us. So there we are. It's like I say, a company called ADW. That's who we use. So I don't know how far they travel, but there we go. Luke's been using them for a long time now, and when we join forces, that's who we stick with. So we'll get all the hardcore in, and we'll get that get some building done. We started to dig more out of here yesterday as well, but then stopped because we needed to concentrate on getting all the ground out of there. As you can see, I didn't think I've showed you just, as you can see, the pile is rather large now. Quite a massive pile there now, but luckily half of that will go today. I won't be able to take all of it because of the weight of the concrete. I think they're only allowed to take a certain amount of tonnage on the back of the wagon. But the plan hopefully at the minute now is once some of the space has gone on the front, we can dig the rest of this out, get it inspected tomorrow morning, and then we can get this concreted and get this all finished as well. And then allows us to start digging this out and digging the trench out here to then get to the drainage, because all this has got to be concreted as well. So a good tidy up then. You know, yes, we will give it a sweep, but that's a bit wet, so we'll let it dry because today's nice and dry. Let that dry and it'll sweep up nicer before we go. We've changed a bit of a plan again. What we're going to do now, I think, is we're going to finish this hole in terms of get everything 100% ready for concreting. And we're going to get that done tomorrow. We are going to do that just tomorrow. I think I alluded to it, but we are definitely doing it now. But what Luke's going to do now is we've sort of marked where we think the line of the drains are, because we've got to pick up a toilet for here and we've got to pick up the toilet that's already upstairs, which is staying in the same position. So we've got to sort of find ourselves, and because we've got a new connection there, we've got to put a manhole here within, I don't know what it is as a measurement, I think, I can't remember what it is, but ultimately you'll have to go over the top of where the soil pipe is, and that's what it'll be. So that's what we're going to do. You will notice that I put some red and white tape over the top of the, I used the sandy ground first underneath the connection. Then I've packed that down, put the red and white tape over the top of it, just as a bit of an indicator really, more so than what we had. And then pea gravel over the top of that. And then start backfilling with this sandy ground again. Now, you can get a yellow and black tape that's actually got electric written on it, but I'll stand corrected, but I don't think that stops your shovel either. So therefore we haven't used that. I've actually got some coming, but it's meant to be delivered today. It's not turned up yet, but we want to get this done and squared away. So I'm going to fetch some ply and make my shuttering for there, shuttering for here, and get that all ready, and then hopefully we'll be good to go then. The idea is we want to get that filled before we start digging another trench here, just so we don't destabilise the ground really. I know it probably won't move because it's solid ground, but you never know, do you? We'd rather not take a chance. So yeah, we'll get that filled tomorrow, and then we'll start digging out and doing all our drainage down here and putting manholes in. So we started a new day by clearing everything up, getting everything ready and moved for the concreting today. What have you seen, what haven't you seen? I don't know now. We've done a complete boxing around this as per inspector's instructions. So what I did was I put a piece of ply in there and I've screwed a piece of ply to the bottom there to stop it pressing in, and then screwed the piece of ply to the top and put a piece across the top to stop it collapsing. Because that is a stop end, I've just covered that in insulation, and that'll be obviously covered with concrete. We had, if you remember, a bit of pipe and a steel pipe coming through there, so what we decided to do was put a bit of a shutter in there. I've wrapped rock wool insulation again around it again, and then I've filled it with pea gravel and sand and compacted that, hence putting the stakes in the ground then to stop that folding in. Then what we're going to do, when that gets filled with concrete, when we get to the point we're about 50 mil or so above that, we're then going to drop these bits of these thick angle iron in there on top of that, just to carry the little bit of a nib that's coming over the top of it, to give it a little bit of strength, because there was no way of sort of still carrying the footing, because the build line, if I open this door, is there. That where that is there, but that's the internal block will come with a. We're probably going to get a 50 mil cavity on this, and then the block wall's going to come there because it's a garage wall, so it's internal, but I want to do it external spec almost, if that makes sense, just so it's a bit warmer in this boot room. So that's the reason why we're doing putting the steel in there, just to give that, because if you can imagine, it's going to come up like that and then come over the top of that, and rather than putting loads of pressure on that, put the steel in, put this in, and then it'll carry that little bit of an overhang nib. It's about 250 mil over the top of that to the height, because that's about 50 mil higher than what it needs to be. Okay, so then we had a bit of a water pipe there, which I think is like a double insulated water pipe, because it's saying when you tap it, it sounds like there's a pipe in a pipe. So that must be the water, and I've just put a duct in through twice. They may have mould that through, I don't know. So that's going there, wrap that in insulation, the steel pipe across there, put the shutter in there to obviously make sure it doesn't collapse, and that can be backfilled then. If you remember, underneath that is the electric connection, the other one that he did. And then in there, as per his instructions, I've done a complete boxing again. I put a bit of wood at the bottom to stop it collapsing in when the concrete goes on it. And then I've filled that with pea gravel. You sort of caught that on the footage, but what I did have to do was take it back out, get the pea gravel out, and then put a bit of a pin at the bottom of that because it kicked out, because I couldn't get to that side to screw it. So I had to redo that, fill that with gravel again, and then stuffed it with insulation. And I've stuffed insulation at the back as well to make sure no concrete gets into it. And that's ready for that. So once the inspector's had a look, he's happy with that. We've left that bit of an existing footing on, the concrete will flow underneath that and support that, so we're happy with that as well. What else? You would have seen the footage of that there. We've already dug down to find the saw pipe. It may mean we can only get a 300mm inspection chamber on that, because we can't get a full chamber on it because of that steel pipe that runs alongside it. We can't obviously cut that, we can't move it, so that's what that is. But we'll have a chat with the inspector about that, see what he says. We may have to put another one elsewhere, another chamber elsewhere. And apart from that, that's just done out here, and we're going to be moving on to something else. If this isn't enough, a bit of an insight to what we might be doing, well, I don't know what is. What we're doing next.
Lay some bricks at me.
Are you? But unfortunately, that's the end of the episode, and that'll be next week.
Next week?
Next week. No, not you, you prat. Them. Bricklaying next week. Oh, for God's sake.
I was really disappointed then.
Oh, I can see it in your face. Well, thanks for watching this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and you're enjoying this series so far. But there's, well, I don't think I can talk about it, but there's loads to do it, and still you can see it. We'll see you on the next one.
See you later.